Okay, Sujit, we are live.
Okay, good. So good morning, good afternoon, welcome everyone. My name is Sujit Hemachandran. I'm part of the Industry 4.0 Hub team here in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. Along with me, I also have Rakesh, who leads the hubs. He will be available to answer any questions that you may have during the course of this presentation. Yeah. So today's webinar is all about sharing some perspectives about SAP strategy on Industry 4.0. Now, it's known by different terms. So Industry 4.0, Industrial IoT, smart factories, what have you, right? But the underlying principle is the same. And what we want to do in today's presentation is share on how you should approach Industry 4.0. Having worked with customers, we have refined the strategy and wanted to share with all of you today attending this webinar. Now, the agenda is quite simple. I'll start with an overview of SAP Industry 4.0, and then take you through some examples where I'll show you some videos about how it's put in action, and then we'll wrap it up with a few takeaways and answer any and all questions that you may have. Right. So to help really set stage for the strategy, any good strategy acts as a direction for the business, right? What we have in the top of today's mind is definitely the global pandemic. No one would have imagined that the pandemic would create an entire standstill, virtual standstill of the global economy in a few weeks. And in matters of supply chain, as supply chain practitioners, what we have seen is suddenly the demand for goods and services becomes highly variable, right? The supply of critical resources becomes unmet. In manufacturing and logistics, all the labor and resources suddenly become constrained in its capacity, right? So the question that comes in all the businesses' mind, especially for dealing with supply chain, is: can my business be resilient, right? Can I create a resilient supply chain for my business? Now, the term resilient, on a simple definition, just means how can I get back on my feet when I am met with unanticipated events, right? So how can I respond? How can I plan? And can I get better from the situation? Can I go back to where I was before? Or can I do something better, right? Now, the resiliency is not a new concept. We have always discussed this in supply chains in previous contexts. So in contexts like Brexit, or trade wars, or natural disasters like earthquakes, this question keeps popping up. But now, because of the global pandemic, this question is front and center of all the boardrooms. And some responses to the resiliency supply chain could be like, for example, should I add more suppliers in my network? Like, for example, when supplier A cannot meet my requirements, can I fall back onto supplier B? So do I have redundant suppliers? Or should I have more safety stock or buffer inventory for my business? Or now we have this huge globalized chain. Should I break down the chain? Should I de-globalize and have local supply chains, and can I optimize them? So now all these are responses to resiliency in achieving a resilient supply chain, but all have trade-offs, right? So the question that comes is there a better alternative to these? And what SAP has found working with its customers is that there are some customers who have come out of this pandemic in a much better shape. And one thing that is fundamental in driving all those success stories is the digital transformation that they have gone to. Yeah, the very fundamental concept of digital transformation is something that they have taken, and such customers who have done it are able to, for example, plan more frequently, plan more quickly, and they have a single view of their organization in terms of planning, right? They're able to manage their supply chain sites and assets much better. They're able to manage their resources and asset utilizations much better. So it is this very fundamental concept of digital transformation that they have undertaken. And that is the crux of SAP strategy as well. So SAP's Industry 4.0 is a strategy to digitally transform your industries with the right data, right context, and connect your processes end to end. so that you can have all the characteristics of a resilient supply chain. So on the slide that you see on the right-hand side are some of the characteristics that define a resilient supply chain. And this is what we help our customers achieve. And the strategies outlined to help customers do these processes as well. So how does a digital supply chain look like? Yeah, so there's the very simple concept of digital, where you have an e-copy of all the data, but a digital supply chain is much more than that. So for example, in a typical supply chain process, when we look at a digital supply chain, so you have your design where you make your products, you hand them over to manufacturing. So all the manufacturing instructions are executed over here, and then you're able to deliver in a multimodal way, whichever transport you choose, but in a very optimized way. Yeah. And it goes to the customer site, and you're also able to operate these devices or these products for your customers in many cases. But while one thing that is very clear is throughout you have an integrated business planning as well. Now, suddenly when you try to create or conceptualize your business in this fashion, you see that you create a very networked effect of your business. And any signals from one aspect of your business flows through the entire network. So for example, when you have delivery issues in your business, it is able to reflect into your manufacturing side of the house. When you have operational issues, those signals can be transferred to your design so that you can build better products or better versions of your products next time, so on and so forth. So suddenly when you start seeing it, the entire crux is actually trying to create a digital supply chain that's able to act and operate more like a network. Yeah. And you are creating a live enterprise. So just to help bring home the point a little bit more, here you can see what a live enterprise looks like. A highly connected digital supply is able to interpret signals from various parts. For example, the financials. So here, sorry if the screenshot is a little bit small, you're not able to do it, but I give you the crux of it. So here, from a financial perspective, you're, let's say, manufacturing multiple products. You would like to know, now we are faced in a tough situation, which products can I stop making and which product should I focus more of it, right? And what is the financial impact of these decisions in my company? You're in your supply chain business. Suddenly you have one of the plants which is going down, or some assets in other plants which are not performing well. Can I route production orders from one plant to another plant? What happens if I take? What is my labor and resource constraints look like if I make such a decision? Right? And being able to have a really top-down, so the machines in your factory flow, are they able to give you the right information in order to make such a decision? Can I for example, in my factory right now, I have 1,000 orders of a product. Can I increase to 1,500? Is there an impact on it? Can my factory handle it? So these are decisions that you take on the top level, right? Right down to even distributing it. Am I doing it in a very distributed, networked logistics where I have answers to all, where is my product? Has it been delivered to my customers, and so on? So here you can see, if you have a highly networked and digital supply chain, you're able to really run these questions. You're able to run what-if simulations very well. So you have one view of your entire business, and any operations in any aspects of your business, you're able to get those signals back up and operate upon them. Yeah. So how do we create such a digital supply chain? So SAP believes that the best way to approach it is in 4 themes. Yeah. In the middle of it, you see the crux of it. So here we have intelligent products, where we help customers build intelligent products. And what are they? They are nothing but products that are customized for the preferences that they have. You should be able to create intelligent factories that use data and technologies to run as autonomously as possible, and deliver products to customers at scale. You have intelligent assets, and intelligent assets just goes beyond putting some IoT devices and getting those data. These assets are connected to each and every process of your business, and they are being able to maintain in a very predictive fashion. And fourth one is empowered people. Now you have all these new technologies. Can I build the right tools and data for my people to act upon these decisions, right? So these are the four segments in which, the four themes in which SAP approaches Industry 4.0. So here you can see this is currently possible right now. So that's why we theme it as Industry 4.0 now, by using all these technologies. So what SAP has done is we have worked with these technologies, and we have helped achieving promises of IIoT integration, of creating a data-driven enterprise for your customer and having intelligent decisions, because you don't just shoot in the dark, as they say, but you are able to make informed decisions on your businesses. And on the top, you can see that you approach all this from an end-to-end perspective, because an industrial transformation of such means affects everything, right from your front office to your supply chain, all the way to your back offices for procurements and finances. So it really does impact when you create such a digital supply chain network. Now, the crux of creating such a thing conceptually can start with creating a digital thread. Now, this has been a dream for all your chief supply chain officers, your COOs for a long time, and we have seen this now becoming a reality. A digital thread has aspects of your entire business, be it planning, manufacturing, logistics, and what have you. And they're all connected by one common view of the data, right? In many cases, more than usual, what we have is we have planning, we have manufacturing, we have finance teams, procurement teams, and each of them is optimized, right? So everyone has this drive for optimization. But what we also found, as is well put by Dr. Ellie Goldratt, a supply chain pioneer, is that the sum total of your local optima is not equal to your global optima. So how much ever optimized each of your business functions are, if they are not connected by a single digital thread, your business is not optimized. And that is what SAP is striving to do, saying you want to optimize your entire business. And what is fundamental to that is being able to create such a digital thread that can weave in and out of your business. For the rest of the session today, what we'll also do is give you an inkling of what such a digital thread will look like, right? So starting, now the thread can be created from anywhere, right? So you can go from your design phase, go all the way to your manufacturing, or you can start from the operations, from your customer feedback, and come in, right? So here what we will show you is how to really crystallize the strategy for a factory, right? So you have your process view on the left-hand side, and in your factory, you have the typical machines. Now they're the workhorses, right? They are the ones that make the products that you can sell. So here you can see all the machines coming in together, and you can see all the applications that are in there. Now, two important words here is what you see here is horizontal integration and vertical integration. So Industry 4.0 blueprint is being able to integrate with all these machines and systems and how they affect the entire business process. That's when you create the network effect that we have. Yeah. So given the time today, we will focus on intelligent factories, and we will delve a little bit more deeper into how that looks, right? So if you go in, So if you go into any factory that you have today, what you see is 200 different machines, 20 different vendors, and so on. So an industrial transformation that is targeted for these factories, how does it look like? It should be able to talk, receive information from all these different systems, and affect intelligently all the processes that you have. Being able to connect and communicate with all these different systems is key to your industrial transformation project. And that is what we will show you how it will look like. Now, to help address the point, to help customers experience such a factory, what SAP has done is we have invested in showcase Industry 4.0 showcase factories around the world. One such in the United States is based out of Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, where we work with machines that you see on actual factories and with software that is available for you right now, and how we weave such a digital thread. So to help explain, I'll show you two videos. So one I will target, first one I'm going to target is for the process customers that we have right now. So let me just stop the share my screen again. And So I'll play a video which shows you how a digital thread is created for, let's say, a process customer.
Welcome to SAP Industry 4.Now Hub here in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. Today I'm standing here in our Process Industry Showcase where we demonstrate the value of SAP solutions using real-world equipment and technology. Today I'll walk through some typical operations found in the process industry and highlight how SAP solutions can maintain a digital thread throughout the entire design-to-consume process. The 3 steps that I'll walk through today are weigh and dispense, mixing, and filling. And as I execute each one of those steps, I'll highlight the value that SAP solutions bring to our process industry customers using such things as batch traceability, being able to trace the genealogy of a batch through the entire process, connected devices, using real-time data to provide information to operators to help them make better decisions. And finally, sustainability, capturing the impact of equipment and machinery on the environment and providing that data to our customers. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started with our first station, which is weigh and dispense. So here we are at our weigh and dispense station, where as an operator, I'll be putting together a premix of some essential ingredients that will then be added into our mixer when we produce a larger batch of bulk concentrate material. I'm presented here on the screen with 3 different recipes that I can choose from. We have a classic, sport, and French recipe. Each one has different amounts of the 3 ingredients that will be added to it, and it also
Sujit, can you pause? We lost the sound.
Sorry?
We lost the sound on the video.
Oh, okay.
Not sure if you can play it from there.
batch number associated with this premix,
Yeah,
because that batch is what we'll use to later on trace how much was used from the premix in the final product that we're going to produce. So some other important information here for the operator, but the key here is using the software to help me as an operator know which steps I need to complete in order to produce this premix. So there's 3 steps of ingredients that will be added, the first of which is citric acid. So I select that, and here the screen is prompting me to scan the batch number associated with the citric acid. So I'll go ahead and do that, and now the information will be captured for the citric acid batch that's being used in the premix. So here we have our scale interface. So I'll hit tear to reset my scale to 0, and then it's asking me to add in 20 grams of citric acid into the premix, which I'll weigh out using my scale. And get as close to 20 grams as I can. And then when that's completed, I'll hit consume. And then the system records exactly how much was used, in this case 21.1 grams. So the next step is to add the second ingredient, which is natural flavor. And again, it's prompting me to scan the barcode for the batch of natural flavor that I'm adding. So I'll hit weigh component there. And here I'll reset my scale to 0. So it will allow me to add that in. And here I'm adding in 40 grams of the natural flavor. Okay, so now I'll hit consume. And then finally, on our third ingredient, one of the things that is important to, again, help the operator and prevent them from making errors is some error checking. So if I was to pick up the wrong vitamin mixture and scan that, the system knows that there's an expected range of batches that is associated with vitamin mixture. And here it tells me that this is the wrong batch. So I can go ahead and select that again and choose the correct vitamin mixture. And here, if I scan that, the system lets me move forward. So I'll hit weigh component. Again, I'll zero out my scale one final time and add in the 40 grams of the vitamin mixture. All right. I'll hit consume. So each of my 3 ingredients has been added. Now I can complete the premix order, which lets me know that order was completed. And as the order has been completed, the system will print out a barcode with that batch number on it that I can then use in the steps forward to add this specific premix batch into my bulk concentrate. So the next step in our process is to produce a large batch of bulk concentrate material in the mixer behind me. And we'll demonstrate in this step the use of connected devices to get real-time data from the various sensors that you can see on the mixer behind me and bring that into the system to help the operators make informed decisions. And here I'm presented with a very similar screen as what we saw in the premix weigh and dispense operation. I have an order number associated with this batch of material and also a batch number that will use me to trace the genealogy of this product throughout all the steps. And finally, some instructions to let me as an operator know what steps I need to take to produce this material. The first of which is to take the premix that we created in the last step and add it into the mixer so it can be used in this bulk concentrate production. So I will select add premix, and here some visual instructions are given to me to help me as an operator know where that material needs to go. So in order to record the premix batch that is going to be used in the mixer production, I'll scan that barcode scanner from our first step and record that batch number. And then I'll go ahead and add the premix into the location on the mixer. So the next step in our process is to check some key quality metrics and start the mixing process. So I'll start that next phase and hit the quality metrics button. And here on the screen, you can see some key parameters associated with our mixer that as an operator, I want to make sure are within the appropriate ranges before I start the mixing process. You can see that 2 of the parameters are in range, but our conductivity is out of range. So at this point, as an operator, I could be prevented from starting the process, but since this is a showcase, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the next step. And we'll activate the mixing phase. And now our mixer is starting. And as our mixer runs through its process, it's going to open 3 valves to take ingredients from these 3 storage tanks and introduce them into our large vessel. As each one of these valves opens and allows the material to pass through, an LED will turn green on top of the valve to indicate that that valve is opening. And we can see that here and allowing the material to pass through. And through the combination of those 3 ingredients, it will produce that purple color material that we selected in the previous order screen. So the next step is to select which tank we'd like to fill. And here I have the ability to select 3 different tanks that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and choose tank number 1 in our filler and hit start phase. So here we are at our filling station, and we can see the 3 storage tanks where material can be kept before it's filled into bottles and sent out for distribution. And we can see that tank number 1 here has our purple material in it that was just produced in the mixer. And the next step will be to create a filling order and to fill these bottles right below. Here on our filling tank dashboard, we can see that purple material is in tank number 1. And if I expand the info, we'll see the batch number that we just created, 4282, is now inside that storage tank. If I select the tank, it lets me know that when I fill the bottles, that material will go in there. So I'll go ahead and create a filling order. And now we can see that the filling order has been created. It has its order number associated with it. And we have a new batch number that represents the final product in the bottles that will be shipped out to distribution. So the next step is to provide the bottles. I'll select that. And here, it's asking us to scan the crate number so we can keep track not only of the material that has been gone through our entire process, but we can also keep track of the containers that are holding this material. So I'll go ahead and scan the barcode and record that information. And then finally, I'll start the filling operation. And as we do that, the material starts to flow out of our nozzle and into the bottles as they're being filled. And then our final barcode label was just printed with the batch number for that final product. And then that will allow us to scan and see the full genealogy associated with this product. So as the final step now that we've produced a premix, a bulk concentrate, and then finally filled bottles with our finished product, we can go into our S4 system and look up this batch number associated with our final product and see the full history and genealogy of this product. Here I can really walk through the history of this product as it was created, all the way back to the premix, and seeing each batch that was used, each ingredient, and exactly how much material was used as well. So here we have the batch number associated with our finished good. We have the batches that was created for the bulk concentrate, that 4282, and even the batch for the premix, and exactly how much material was captured in the premix by our scale. Really tying everything together and completing that genealogy. So I'd like to thank you on joining us through this journey of our Process Industry Showcase. Hopefully one day you'll be able to come and see it in person. But until then, good luck on your Industry 4.0 journey, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. So what you saw right now is how my colleague showcased the digital thread concept for the process industries, right? And just so that we don't leave out our customers on the discrete side of the house, what I'll just show you is a small snippet. I won't go through the entire segment of how a digital thread would apply for a discrete customer as well. So here we have Matt taking you through that particular story.
Hello, and welcome to SAP's Industry for Now Innovation Hub, located in our Newtown Square office. My name is Matt Ruff, and I'll be walking you through our discrete industry showcase, starting with component manufacturing. We've set our workstation up here to reflect a lot size of one manufacturing scenario, where we'll be building the control unit for an EvoGuard double-seated valve, like you can see on the screen right now. But really, this is representative for any kind of discrete product that could be configured and personalized for the customer's needs. We'll be highlighting SAP's capabilities in a dynamic and flexible manufacturing environment, leveraging technologies like robotic automation, inline visual inspections assisted by artificial intelligence and machine learning, and industrial IoT, focusing on the interoperability of SAP solutions with a variety of shop floor equipment. All of this is enabled by SAP's Digital Manufacturing Suite, where we're using Digital Manufacturing Cloud, or DMC, to execute our production operations and capture valuable insights and analytics in the cloud, and SAP Plant Connectivity to integrate into the machine layer. Now, our story starts on the customer side with a sales order that gets placed in our Hybris web store. Here we can configure our order with a variety of components. For instance, we have in a production supply area here a row of white caps and a row of blue caps. And based on the order that gets configured in our store here, a sales order gets created in S4, along with 3 production orders, one for each stage of our discrete showcase. Along with those production orders comes the BOM that was configured with the order. And as these production orders are released from S4, they'll become available in our production scheduling tool called Resource Orchestration. Okay, so now that we've reviewed DMC's Shop Floor Designer and some of the production processes that we've defined for our showcase here, I want to move on to the Production Operator Dashboard, or POD as we call it. So as an operator, I'll use the pod to execute my orders, and we'll be able to see how some of the logic we defined in our Shop Floor Designer tool works in action. So before I start, I'll just walk through the pod layout so you guys can follow along easily with me. Along the left-hand side, we have some standard action buttons like starting and completing for orders. We can open and log nonconformances here with this button. Our work list here shows the available orders at our station. And then along the top, we have various tabs here. So we have work instruction viewers. These are all filtered based on the selection criteria in the left. So I can open up a standard operating procedure that's assigned to this operation. I can look at data collections that are assigned to this operation, as well as any components to be assembled. In addition to this, we have two tabs for our visual inspections. And as our Ascentix camera, which is attached to the gripper head here, as these pictures are captured throughout the process, the images along with the analysis is passed back into DMC, and they'll be visible in the pod for the operator. So I'll go ahead and start an order. We have one here for a blue cover. And we will go ahead and start this order. So as we said earlier, the production process that we showed in Shop Floor Designer, these are linked to the pod buttons. So when I click on start, we'll get a confirmation that our production process was called successfully, and then we'll see the robot move into action, and we'll see our Culver unit get reprogrammed with our target torque. So this order is for a blue cover. You can see that in the details panel down here. We'll go ahead and start this. And we can see our Culver unit now reprogram with a new set point. As our robot arm grabs the unit from the staging area, it'll move that to the assembly station, and then move into position to take our first visual inspection picture. So that picture will be an analysis on the wire assembly on our circuit board. So we're checking that the correct color wire is in the correct location, and we have 4 wires in total. So we'll see this image back in the pod as soon as it's taken, and if it failed this step, we would automatically log a nonconformance, and the unit would get rejected to the rework station. Since it passed, it went ahead and grabbed a blue cap here from our production supply area, where we have a row of blue caps and white caps, and now it's placing the cap onto the unit, after which it'll return home to wait for its next command. So if I open our inspection tab here, I can see the image analysis already, where we have 4 wires. Each of these was passed green. Like I said, it's checking for color and the location. And we have a non-conformance scenario that we can walk through after this to show you that work as well. So now this is a manual assembly step. If I go back to our data collection tab, we can see that there's open torque parameters here yet to be collected. And I'll just go ahead and start fastening these screws in. So if you remember, our target set point was 0.5 for blue. And as I fasten these in, you can see the actual value displayed on the screen there. So 0.53 was the first value, 0.51 for our second. And for the third and final screw, we have 0.5. So we can see these values show up in the pod immediately. I just need to give this tab a refresh. And you can see this field populate with our results. So 0.53, 0.51, and 0.5. If we wanted to set up automatic nonconformance logging here, if these were outside of a specific range, we could do that. These are all green and passed and close to our target torque, so we are okay to complete this. And again, we have a production process linked to our complete button. So once we do this, the robot will move into position for our second overhead image, where we're doing an inspection of the cap. We're checking to see if the cap color is correct and if there are any missing screws. So we can see that image in the pod again in our inspection tab here. It takes a minute to come through. Here you can see the image of our cap with a blue sticker, and we're checking for the wrong color. We're checking for different screws, or missing screws rather, and it'll actually suggest the likelihood of each of these nonconformance codes. So DMC uses a machine learning model where we can feed a data set as we run more and more orders. So it's associating this image with a happy or sad path. And if we log a nonconformance on this image, it'll remember that images that that relate like or look similar to this one will be more likely to have this nonconformance code. So here you can see some of the probabilities that it's suggesting, and overall it's saying that our SFC is most likely conformant. If we wanted to say, oh, well, the model's wrong, this right screw is actually missing, we can go ahead and log that nonconformance anyway. But since everything looks green here, I'm going to go ahead and complete this second operation. That'll finish our SFC on this order, and then it'll move our unit back to the staging area.
So let me get back here to my presentation and share. Okay, so what you saw right now is how a digital thread can be created for process and for a discrete customer. So you saw how we could work with machines, how we could work with all these new digital technologies like AI, machine learning, and so on, to really bring about an industrial transformation for the business. So in our showcases that we have built, we have worked with all these hardware vendors. So these are machines that are used in actual factories, right? You can see a real life stuff. Yeah, there's no POC there. There's no demo code. It's all real, right? So some of the use cases that we have seen in the video is something like a mass productized or customized order, a batch size of 1, and a complete traceability. So if you see, Ben showed you, like, for example, every batch that you create, you can drill down to, okay, where did my ingredients come from? How much did I use in my particular batch? So on and so forth. So information is weaved in accordingly and displayed, right? So other qualities that you saw also in the video was something like inbuilt product quality, a single pane of glass for being able to manufacture and maintain your stuff. There are some other use cases we haven't covered today, but something that we show in our showcase is on what does it mean to have an intelligent asset management framework. How do you do real-time shop floor? So every operation, every time the machine sends a signal, how does it flow in all the way to the top? Remember, being able to take real-time decisions. This is very important, having a real-time view of your entire factory. And this is very representative of various industries, chemicals, life sciences, CPG, and what have you. Similarly, on the discrete side, we just showed you a small segment of a video, but here you can see how a customized order, because customized or personalized order is very important, how you could do it, how could the operators and your factories be tuned to have this personalization or an inbuilt, along with an inbuilt genealogy of your product, right? We would welcome you to visit our showcases. There are other segments as well, where we speak about a modular manufacturing or a lights out factory. What is the framework in order to achieve that? Yeah. So we also show automated material flows, because materials is very important, and how it works with your warehouse management systems and how you have AGVs, transporting equipment, and so on and so forth, that are there. So there's a lot more things that we would love to show in the showcase for various typical industries that are there. Yeah, but having showed you all that, it is just an inkling of how we formulated the strategy and how we are taking it by working with our customers to do that, right? So it could be a little bit overwhelming in terms of the promise that we have. So we have this nice little framework where first you can experience, customers can come and experience what it means to be an Industry 4.0 stuff for the different stuff. We'll explore the business goals of the customer. You can really start weaving this digital thread anywhere, right? You could start with intelligent factories, you could start with intelligent assets, for example, or products, what have you. So we try to churn out a path working with the customer's goals. And we also have something that we have a learning map, right? So for both executives and experts who would like to drill deeper, for example, if you're a logistics expert and would like to know what Industry 4.0 means for logistics. So we have a lot of materials that out there available and help you navigate that as well. Yeah. And finally, we work with customers on their pilot projects. We have a lot of big team in SAP with different expertises in different industries and technologies where we do. So it's a very simple framework because helping customer reach their Industry 4.0 goals is also very important with us. Yeah. But on a quick note, for all of you who have attended, what I would really suggest is visit us in our booth, right? So we have our colleagues, Dave, Kian, and others over there to help you out with any questions that you may have, any questions that you had from this presentation, or what is SAP's industry strategy, what have you, right? All things Industry 4.0. Just shoot out to us, visit the booth, and continue our conversation there, right? We also have a microsite that we enabled. So this entire showcase factory that you can see videos of it for different aspects of the business. I invite you to visit the site that we have created. And there are some links that are available in this PDF as well that we shall be sharing with all of you. Yeah. So having said that, we have come to the end of the presentation, and we are open to any questions that any of you may have.
Thanks, Sujit. So we do have one question on Q&A of our Zoom. So people can ask more questions. I'll just read out the question. Sounds good for very large manufacturer to afford. What can a small manufacturer afford to do? If you may, Sujit, I may take this question.
Sure. Yes,
yeah,
please.
sure. Absolutely, Bill. I mean, there are a few things to look at. Number one is that a lot of our small and medium enterprises are also deploying this because they see the value in operating with that single taxonomy of data and creating that digital thread. Now, of course, this is part of the journey. And we do not expect everybody to kind of be fully autonomous day one, number one, right? Number two, a lot of these solutions, we are rendering it through the cloud and in a hybrid way onto the shop floor as well. That supports the SME very well. We have one program that we have recently launched by our CEO called Rise with SAP. That is definitely applicable here. Number three, I would say is that Suji just presented that experience website. When you get this link, do visit there, see what your priorities are, what your outcomes are. And what we see with a lot of SMEs is that they are on a growth trajectory. So having this connected processes day one definitely helps them give them this growth platform, right? But we are definitely happy to engage with your organization if you want to reach out through that experience website or contact us through our website, and we'll definitely have more discussions and kind of show you tangibly how our small and medium enterprises are also implementing this effectively. Does SAP MII play any role in SAP Industry 4.0 and the demo that we just saw? Brian, that's a great question. Yes, SAP MII is one of our key component of Industry 4.0 now as well. And the process industry that you saw was operating on MII. Now, of course, we have a cloud and on-prem and hybrid architecture depending on what customer wants to do, but MII is a key for our integration as well as for analytics as well. Millie, great question again. Does Industry 4.0 support digital twin? Absolutely. And that's why when Sujit spoke about our whole design to operate business processes, the concept of digital twin and the term digital twin is very, very broadly used and differently used by different industries. So the concept of digital twin really starts from the design when you're designing a product. When you create the whole BOM, the CADs and all that good stuff, that's from the product perspective. And then as you hand it over to the manufacturing, you end up creating the end product. You also want to create an equipment digital twin so that when your end customer uses, you can share that through the network also. So that's one point when it comes to the products itself of a digital twin. But we do believe in a digital twin of every physical aspects that is involved as well. So digital twin of business processes, digital twin of even your factory and plant. So for example, our asset intelligence network, which is part of our Industry 4.0 portfolio, also supports build out the digital twin of your plant where you can model the hierarchy of the equipment, know the exact location where your equipments are, and then get into the digital twins of individual assets, which you can use it in the manufacturing process as well. So we do support a lot of concepts of digital twin across different business processes, including the visualization of that through our 3D modeling tool called Visual Enterprise tool, which can be rendered also through the variables of our partners, wearable devices of our partners. Hope that answered your question. Sujit, do you want to add anything to any of this? Feel free to do so.
Yeah, no, that's all perfect, Rakesh. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Greg, we are at the top of the hour. If you want to say any last words, but do feel free to reach out to us, and we are happy to kind of support any more detailed deep dives on this topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So key takeaway: digital thread, Industry 4.0. So yeah, hope you have got some ideas to think about, some frameworks and roadmaps to think about. But yes, kindly explore with us. We are more than happy to help and discuss at any point in time. Yeah.
Okay, great job, guys. Thank you, Sujit and Rakesh at SAP. And please, everyone, take a quick break and come back for our next session. And thank you for joining the SAP workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.